Alright guys, welcome to the channel. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Today we're going to be trying to install this e-brake boot on my WRX. It's an 07, sorry about being dark. It's an 07 and I've never really seen any tutorials. Let me see if I can get another light. No, probably not. Never seen any tutorials on how to do this. Well, I've seen one, but it was, so-so. Camera angles weren't that good. But I think all I'm going to be needing to do this is a screwdriver. Let me make sure I can get the right tip in this. No. Let's see if I have another screwdriver in here. Alright, hold on. Let me search for another screwdriver and I'll get back to you guys. Alright, I couldn't find another screwdriver, but the other thing you're going to need for this is probably some super glue. The shift boot doesn't really have any places to attach to the little piece in the middle of the console that the shift boot goes around. So I'm going to keep looking for another screwdriver. I'm going to hold on to this super glue and hopefully we can go down there and get this thing installed. Alright guys, so after like 20 minutes of searching, it's really embarrassing I don't actually have a flashlight here in my house because all my tools are at work. I did find this little bitty tiny little screwdriver. It's like a pocket screwdriver, but it's got the right tip. So we're gonna go out there and see if this works. Let's get to it. Alright guys, so we're in the Subi, right here in the passenger seat. I've got the red e-brake boot. It's a Bride one. I got it off of Build It Works. Pretty cool. As you can see here, I've already got the shift boot installed. I would do a tutorial on that, but you guys can probably find a video of it somewhere on YouTube. There's plenty of them done. The only issue that I had was figuring out what to do with that little plastic collar on the inside. Basically all you do is slip it on the inside of the boot, put the shift knob back on top, and it just clicks right in. It works pretty well. If you guys want, I could do a specific tutorial for my car on it. I know a lot of the shift boot tutorials are for maybe different models of cars or whatever, but this one was pretty easy to install, so I'm sure you guys are smart enough to figure it out. But if you want a tutorial on it, let me know for sure. Alright guys, check it out. So right here on the inside, there's two screws right here, and I'm going to be using that little screwdriver I showed you guys earlier, just a regular Phillips head tip to take those out. Now, before you guys talk about quality of the video, I apologize. My phone's an Android, so let's just leave it at that, and we won't talk about it. Cool? Cool. Might need to use the smaller one, because this one keeps slipping out. Let me switch this tip really quick. Look at that, one-handed operation. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and remove these two screws right here. And then there's two more screws behind this little trim piece. And I'll show you guys that in a second. Alright guys, so I got those two screws out. Now to take off this trim piece, you just pop this guy up right here. And it just comes right off. I'm going to unplug this, my radar, my little cigarette lighter plug. And then this just pulls back a little bit, and then as you can see, there's one screw right there, and then one screw on the other side. Sorry about the lighting, but it's right in here, right there. So I'm going to get those out and hopefully take this center console off pretty easily. There should be a little button, like a pants button, right under this, the e-brake lever itself. It's right here. You just unclip that and this loosens right up. Okay, so I accidentally showed you guys the wrong screws. I pointed to these top ones. There's one here and one right there. That actually removes this to get to your radio or stereo. But the ones you gotta take out are actually right below it. There's one there and then one right here. They're pretty easy to get to. And I got lucky because I was trying to take this one out thinking it was the right one, and it's actually like seized in there. So good thing it wasn't that one that I had to take out. So let me put you up on the tripod and we'll try and get this center console out. Alright guys, so it should just pop right out. If you can get kind of a grip like here on the sides, it should just come up. It's not really cooperating with me. Not sure why it's not coming up. Oh, maybe that's it. Okay, kind of clicks in there, so might have to use a little bit of force. And like I said earlier, there's this little button and it just unclips and it should slide right off your e-boot, your e-brake. And on the inside, there's another little retaining ring that you need to just kind of try and pry a little bit. Don't put too much pressure because you don't want to break the tabs. But it should just pop right out, and that's the retaining ring that keeps your e-brake boot in. So as soon as I can get that out, I'll show you guys and we'll move on to putting the new e-brake boot on. Alright guys, so I got it out. There's this one tab down here at the bottom that holds it in. There's these tabs on the side that are kind of just locating tabs, and at the very top there's this tab that you have to push down and pull on the e-brake boot itself at the same time. And here on the sides there's some sticky stuff, I guess from when they sealed the e-brake boot to this little retainer. So you're gonna have to kind of pry it out, maybe use a little bit of force because the sticky stuff on the sides is holding it in. So once you get this out, if you can find a spot like right up here, it should just peel right off, because basically they super glued it to this retaining ring. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel this off, get the e-brake boot off of this retaining ring, and then we'll move on to putting the new e-brake boot on this. And I think I'm gonna need to use a little bit of super glue just to hold it in place on the sides here, where it might not stay there otherwise, just because it's kind of a weird curved angle, and the new e-brake boot is just a straight cut. Even though it does have this elastic band around it, I don't see really being able to fold it down where the elastic band will hold it around this retaining ring. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this e-brake boot off, put the new one on, and see if I need to super glue it. Alright, so as you can see guys, it doesn't really sit along this bottom piece of the retaining ring very well. It kind of cinches up, since I said, like I said, it's not a curved cut in the fabric. So what I'm going to do is put some super glue along this edge here, and then just hold it there for a little while, and hopefully it sticks. This elastic band is pretty elastic, so I'm not sure if it'll just pull right off. Hopefully the super glue will have long enough to set, but the elastic band holds it pretty well on this front edge, or front part of the retaining ring, even though it does go a little bit far down. Since this is a universal e-brake boot, I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but with a little bit of modification, that super glue, hopefully it will set well enough to at least hold it along this bottom curve. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to do it off camera because I'm not sure how long it'll take to set, but I will show you guys after it's done. And if it doesn't work, then we will figure something else out. Alright guys, so as you can see, the super glue held pretty well. I would have liked to put a little bit more on there, but I ran out, actually. It was a small tube. But I am having a little bit of a problem. So there's this front little tab that goes into this slot right here and holds the retaining boot in, or the retaining trim piece. And with this fabric going over it, it won't slide into the hole. And if you put the fabric on the top side of it, then this e-brake boot just slips right off when you try and slide it in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run upstairs and I'm going to grab a knife. And I don't recommend doing this, but this is kind of the only option I have for this particular e-brake boot. I'm going to cut a little hole right here to slide this through, and hopefully the fabric itself isn't too thick where it'll keep this little tab from sliding in far enough. And also, even though the super glue is holding decently, it's holding it in place, I don't trust that it'll hold it there for a long period of time. And if the super glue bond breaks, basically this piece or this seam of the e-brake boot will just slide right out of the retainer and it'll be flopping around on your e-brake. So I'm going to cut a little hole right above this, I don't know if you can see that, this little tab right here on this side, and slip it over the tab on both sides so that it holds the whole fabric on the inside of the retainer. And then this rear clip right here, the part that you had to bend, I'm not sure. I think I'm going to do the same thing as I do in the front and just cut a little hole right above it and just slide it over it. So I'm going to run upstairs, I'm going to grab a knife, and I'm going to come right back. I got super glue all over my hands. That's wonderful. But I'm going to run upstairs, grab a knife, probably wash my hands off, and I will come right back down and show you guys. Actually, I'm going to bring the e-brake boot up with me, just do it upstairs so I have better lighting, and I'll show you guys exactly what I do to modify it, and then we'll bring it back down and hopefully install it. See guys, that's why I always carry a pocket knife with me. Never know what you're going to need it for. Okay, so right now you guys are actually sitting on top of a ramen noodles box. Cool. So, like I said, I'm going to take this knife, and I don't recommend doing this because it's irreversible. I guess you could sew it back together, but that's not really an option for me because I don't know how to sew. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut like literally right here, right above the elastic band part, so it's not too far up. I don't want too much of this material underneath because I want it to fit right. I'm going to cut right above here, and then this super glue part, just going to remove that. Super glue, it worked, but like I said, I don't trust it to stay for a long time, so I don't want my e-brake boot coming out and flopping around while I'm driving. Plus, it wouldn't really look good. So, like I said, I'm going to cut here. I'm going to cut one right above this tab. So, like, right in this area, I guess. I'll have to mock it up once I get the front two, or the front and the rear piece cut so I can align it right. I don't want to cut too much, and I don't want to cut too far back or too far forward. So I guess I should have left that on the back just to line it up. So I'll cut this one first. So I'm going to cut right here, and careful when you're doing this. If you are doing it, if you're using a universal e-brake boot and you have to do this, just be super careful. I don't want to be responsible for any cuts or injuries. Alright, so I just cut, as you can see, like that much. Really not a lot. Maybe I'll need to cut a little bit more. So, I don't know. Like maybe enough to fit your finger through. And then go down here. And it fits perfectly right over it. cool. So that one's done. I'm gonna stretch it down as much as I can so I can fit it over this front part. And then I'm just gonna kind of mock this up, and I'll cut from the inside just so I don't cut too much. Just pierce it through there. Cut just, oh, that was way too much. Well, learn from my mistakes, guys. But that should fit through pretty much perfectly now. Hopefully it'll go into that little slot that I showed you guys earlier in the center console piece. So I'm just gonna fold this over and then look at it from the back side. Need to cut right about here. And this piece is about as wide as the knife blade, so I'm just gonna, I guess, start right here. And like I said, guys, I really don't recommend this. I'm probably gonna regret doing this later, but that super glue just wasn't gonna be an option. They probably have stuff out there like adhesive spray or something like that that you can spray on this thing and make it a little bit more sticky or trustworthy, but I don't have time to go out and do that stuff or buy any of that. And also, my clutch is slipping on my car, so I don't want to go out and drive it. And there should be a video coming soon on me getting my clutch replaced. It'll be more of a vlog type video than this. This is like a just introductory video slash, oh god dang, that was way too much. But it is what it is. This is just an introductory slash how-to kind of DIY video. But there it is. So hopefully it'll go in there now. Hopefully this fabric isn't too thick to sit between this retaining ring and the side of the center console. So now that that's done, I'm going to take this back down to the car, get it installed, and hopefully all goes well. So I'll see you guys there. Alright guys, so we're back in the car. I actually ended up cutting slits for every single one of these little locating tabs. So as you can see, I just pulled my center console out and to the side just so I get a little bit better access and see what I'm doing down here on these locating holes and the holes for the tabs and everything like that. So I'm going to start down here at the bottom with this locating tab that goes in the middle, and it goes in pretty well, but it's kind of sketchy because this fabric is pretty thick and I'm not sure it's going to sit in there very nicely. But just push it as far forward as you can and use a little bit of force, and it looks like I should have cut a little further up so that this, oh man, I see what's going on. It's like a groove that this sits in, and that elastic band is so thick that it's not letting it fall down into that groove. Man, that sucks. So what I'm going to do is probably cut holes a little bit higher on the fabric so that this elastic band is not sitting right in that groove, and it'll actually have room to more or less fall down into it. Man, that's rough. Wish I would have realized that before I cut it. But, you know, when you're modding your car and using universal stuff, that's the way it's got to go. Alright guys, so after a lot of trimming, a lot of recutting, a lot of finessing, I finally got it into the little slit, and as you can see there's kind of a gap. I had to trim some inside. Some of that fabric is sticking out, and I'm going to try and get it on the shift boot, but as of right now my overall opinion is I would not recommend buying a universal shift boot because this was a pain in the I really hate trimming stuff like this, stuff that is kind of irreplaceable. I mean, I could go to a junkyard or you know, go on like a Facebook group or something and get another replacement center console. But as you can see, I already have a USB port custom drilled in here. So, I mean, it'd be kind of a pain in the butt to replace this. But yeah, this was really a pain in the butt, and I wouldn't recommend it. Try and find a shift boot that is made specifically for your car. It's going to fit a lot better. The install is going to go a lot easier, and you won't have to trim anything that's, you know, not really fixable. So, like I said, I'm going to try and get this over the shift boot right now, or the e-brake itself, I'm sorry. So I gotta feed this wire back down there. Okay, it just took a little bit of force. I was able to get it back on. So now this e-brake boot, since it is universal, it should slide right over your e-brake handle. I'm just gonna slide it down. It's gonna take a little bit of convincing, but it should go all the way down past the e-brake, the handle itself, and kind of just sit there at the bottom. And there it is. I'll show you guys in a second, but right here is really scrunched up, and it's pretty ugly, to be honest with you. Really didn't expect it to look like that. So yeah, we might be looking for another shift boot soon, but they match, so I'm happy with that. But there's that. Just gonna pop these screws back in, and then I'll get back with you and I'll show you how scrunched up this is, and it just really doesn't look good. But it is what it is, and it's universal, so I really can't complain too much. Alright, I'll get back with you guys in just a second. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for this video. The product wasn't really what I expected. It was, I don't know, I'm kind of not impressed, to be honest with you. But like I said, it is universal. I did do a lot of trimming, a lot of cutting, and it still didn't really turn out the way I wanted it to. But like I said, it is what it is. When you're modifying your car, especially with universal stuff, you're gonna have to cut a lot and trim a lot, and it's not always gonna turn out perfect. And I'll show you guys the finished product right now. As you can see right here, it's really scrunched up. Kind of like, I don't know, I don't really like how tight it is right there, if that makes any sense, but they match. It actually doesn't look too bad. The red with the gray and black interior is pretty cool. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new. There's a lot more content coming soon. I should be going to a shop soon to get my clutch finished, to get it replaced. And usually something like that is something I try to do by myself. Any repairs or mods on my car, I try to do myself. But with the clutch, I don't really want to drop a transmission. I don't have access to a lift, so I don't want to drop my transmission or mess with trying to pull the engine or anything like that in a driveway. And I live in apartments, so it's really hard to find a place that I can do stuff like that. So I'm just going to take it to a shop, and these guys are really cool. They do some awesome Subaru builds, so hopefully I can show you guys that. And we'll get the clutch done, and I'll be making a lot more videos on this Subaru soon. So like I said, if you guys liked the video, leave it a like, thumbs up, comment down below. And if this video helped you, make sure to subscribe. There will be a lot more tutorials and stuff like that coming soon. Thanks guys. Peace!